Opponents have been quick to criticise Labour's capital gains tax policy, despite the fact it won't be announced until next week. The tax working group has previously estimated the tax could earn the government $4.5 billion a year. But experts say a capital gains tax on investment properties won't stop the rich avoiding tax and will be too complex. So, joining me now is Duncan Garner, our political editor from Wellington. So, capital gains tax, Duncan. What capital gains tax, according to Labour? Should Gough just front up on this now that it's out in the open?
Yeah, good morning, Rachel. You may want to be perhaps fill a few gaps in here because everyone else is filling the vacuum, like his opponents like John Key and some of the economists who are lining up. He's going to stick to his timetable. Labour told me last night they're not going to bring this forward. The timetable will be next Thursday. But, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, we've criticised Labour for not having any bold or courageous policy for the last couple of years. So you can say this is pretty bold, pretty brave and pretty courageous. But I just think they need to fill the gaps, perhaps frame the debate a bit more, say why they want a capital gains tax, even if they don't confirm they want it. It seems a bit silly, almost dishonest, that here we are knowing what's going to happen and there's a lot of spin coming out of his party, yet they won't confirm it. All he says is, I can't comment on speculation, which he knows is wrong. OK, so what's your understanding, Duncan, of how it would work and who it will affect? Well, my sources in the Labour Party tell me it'll be a 15% capital gains tax on investment properties. But we're starting to get a little bit more information over the last couple of days. It may well include a 15% tax on share dividend as well, and perhaps the sale of businesses and commercial property as well. So perhaps they're trying to spread the net a bit on a capital gains tax. All the economists I have said, if you have a narrow, I've talked to have said, if you have a narrow capital gains tax, it actually doesn't work. It doesn't raise enough revenue. And you can get around it. You can get all sorts of schemes to get around it. Get a good accountant and you will. So the wider it is, the more comprehensive it is, arguably the better it is in terms of returning a lot of revenue to the government. So perhaps Labour do have a few surprises in this yet. Interesting response from some of the other parties. National says it's ridiculous. The Greens say it should have been brought in years ago. Is comment in Parliament fairly split on this? Yeah, no, you're right, it is. It's pretty much down party lines. Those parties of the right or of government, if you like, are saying this is ridiculous. And, of course, you can always rely on your opponents to misinterpret the policy and get it out there so people think it's completely the opposite of what the opposition might be trying to promote. But the Greens have been talking about this for a very long time. And, as I mentioned, this vacuum with Phil Gough, what you've got now is actually Russell Norman filling the gap and talking like it's his own policy. He almost looks like it's his policy that they're promoting. It's always hard to sell a new tax. Is this policy, do you think, likely to generate more support for Labour? Well, I mean, I can't see how. By promoting a new tax. The last person to win an election promoting a new tax was Helen Clark, but it was a very small, just that new tax on high-income earners in 1999. This is obviously going to be a big, heavy, cornerstone new tax on New Zealanders across the board of shares and dividends and so forth, investment housing. And I just can't see how you can win an election promoting a new tax. It's highly risky. Sure, it's bold and courageous, and we need to do something with the housing bubble and the housing market. But I tell you what, it's hugely risky saying, OK, New Zealanders, vote for me, we're going to put in a new tax. And don't forget, Rachel, there's also going to be income tax rises in Labour's policy next Thursday as well. So I mean, I don't know if it's highly strategic from Gough because I can't see it. But, I mean, if you're going to go and promoting new taxes, I don't know how you're going to win the election. OK, let's change tact now for a moment to the situation with the 2 injured soldiers in Kabul. It's possible, we're told, that they were shot by friendly fire. Is John Key eager to get to the bottom of this? No, because I think he knows the answer. They were unusual injuries, and when we asked him on Monday at the press conference, I know you talked to him after that as well, is that he won't confirm or not whether it was friendly fire. The defence, it's very easy for the Defence Force to get to the bottom of this. It either is or it isn't, because they can tell by the nature of the injuries and where the bullets came from and so forth. So they could find it out. I think they know the answer, so they don't want to dig any further because it would be highly embarrassing because you're training these troops, you're mentoring these troops, and they've turned around and shot one of their own by the looks of it. So I don't think you'll ever get the answer on this one. John Key told me on Tuesday that even if it was friendly fire, the troops won't be coming home. He's pretty keen, it seems, to keep America on side, isn't he? Oh, most definitely, and you've seen the Labour Party position on this. They don't want the SAS there, haven't wanted them there since 2005. We are coming home in March next year. The SAS contingent, which is up to about 70 in Kabul, are coming home in March. But there's been this long-standing request from the SAS, it certainly was put to Key when I was over there last year, that they want us to have a small contingent to stay there, maybe 20 or 30. I think that's too sensitive now for John Key to agree to, and I think he has to bring them home in March. He certainly signalled on Monday that there would be no deal, that these blokes could come home in March, but I think he's probably going to meet Obama at some time this year, as early as this month perhaps, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some pressure from the Americans to Key to say, hey, can you keep helping us there? We will withdraw at some stage. You've seen our withdrawal program, but we're keen for a few of your guys to stay. Is it possible? And the promise to make it all a bit weak-kneed, if you like, when he gets to the White House and talks to the President, you know.
All right, Duncan Garner, our political editor, thanks for your time this morning.
No problems.